Hi everyone, happy Friday. Welcome to Pendulum Friday here at Soulprint. I'm so glad that you're here and able to join. All right, let's get cracking. First things first though, the amazing Joyce has a request and we hopefully those who feel inclined will answer her request. I'll just read you exactly what she said. I'm requesting prayers for my younger sister Kay, who lives in Graham, North Carolina. She's been in hospital all this month. She had a very serious operation and will be in ICU for several more days. Thanks, Joyce. Now, I know what amazing healers are out there. So if you can spare a few minutes and send Kay healing thoughts and prayers, I would very much appreciate it. And I'm sure I speak for Joyce in saying the same thing. All right, let's get going. Questions. Will the people of Alberta vote Liberal in this election? Okay, I did, but I'll ask the pendulum, but I have to tell you, logic tells me that even though there's going to be people voting Liberal, um, the Conservatives are going to win the majority of seats here in Alberta. They always do. There might be some seats that go NDP, but it really out here, it's like NDP or Conservative. It kind of fluctuates. Liberals, like never. They might get like a couple of ridings, but they don't tend to, it's not something that's going to go over in a really big way, even with everything that's been going on. Let's ask, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so I decided it's ready to talk. Pendulum, will the people of Alberta vote Liberal in this election by a majority? Or a lot of people vote? No, it just doesn't happen out here. It's sort of like Texas, right? You get the occasional rep and senator, I'm not sure, right? That are not red conservatives, but by and large, it holds. Okay. Oh, will all the people who were sent from the United States and sent to El Salvador hold on, will all removed from the U.S. and sent to El Salvador prison be returned and given due process? All. That's going to be the tricky part. Are they all going to come back? No. Are a good number of them going to come back? Yeah. And are they going to receive the due process that they're entitled to? Yes. Okay. Will 45 and DJ be out of the White House by the end of this year? Will they both be out of the White House by the end of 2025? No. Let's break it down. Will 45 be out of the White House? Will he be removed from the White House, step down, or just simply not there before the end of this year? Okay, that's the yes. Will Vance also be removed from the White House? That's a no. No, and it's one of the things that that I've said, right? Is even if you can get rid of Trump, unless you can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the entire election was rigged, um, he's vice president. He automatically ascends into the presidency. I don't believe that the U.S. Constitution has a subclause saying, well, if they're both crooks, this is what happened next. And don't forget, if they do the line of succession, who do we end up with in the White House? Mike Johnson, right? They, there's a list of how it goes. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. Is EM and Trump administration destroying America? Okay. Okay. Yes. But what they're destroying is the America that you knew. They're not going to be able to completely bring down the country, but the government as you know it. And you know what? They're not kind of doing it, they've done it, right? Your economy is a disaster, your reputation is shot, nobody wants to play ball with you. It's all, and I'm not even talking about the damage, a lot of it really irreparable that has happened to the actual people who live in the United States, whether it is veterans or seniors or people who got bounced out of their jobs. And we're not even going to talk about all the people, for example, who potentially can get really sick or worse because you've got the Kennedy guy in charge of health services. I mean, it's insane. Are Republicans aware of this? Okay, yeah. I'm going to break that down a little bit. Are the majority of Republicans aware of the damage that is being caused? That's a yes, and I have to tell you that's not the answer I was expecting. The next question asked here is, do they care? I'm just going to rephrase that a little bit and ask, is there need or desire for self-preservation and that of their family? Does that override their care and concern about what is going on within the country? And that's a yes. And, but again, it's really easy to say they need to grow a spine, and I'll say it because they do. But a lot of them have been threatened. I'm sure for some of them, there's compromat. They're sort of really in cahoots with, that big country to the east. But I think for a lot of them, the threats are very real and they're very scary. And they're trying to figure out how to, I don't know, walk on a razor thin edge. Okay, here's a question. Somebody asked a question with regards to Vance and Peter Thiel. I'm not going to ask the question. It's out of bounds. Okay. It has to do with whether they did or did not have a certain kind of relationship. I'm not going there, right? Honestly, for a couple of reasons. One, it's just kind of in bad taste. And two, I want the questions, predominantly here to be about politics of the day. So whoever sent it in, I'm sorry, but I'm not going there. Will EM stand trial for any of the charges brought by the United States Security and Exchange Commission? Ooh, that's a yes. Will EM stand trial for charges brought by stockholders of Tesla or Twitter? Okay, by Tesla. Okay, no. Let's ask this. Is he going to remain as head of the board of directors at Tesla, or will he be removed from the board? Yes. Sales are down 71%. I'm sure most of you have heard this already for the first quarter of this year. And it actually would have been worse than that, but they were able to get like money coming in from other sources, that kind of thing, allowed their bottom line to not be as horrible as it ended up being. It's not a good situation there at all. Okay. Will the SAVE Act be overturned by the 2026 midterm elections? Okay, it's a small yes. I think we have to be really mindful of what kind of a process needs to take place in order for the Republicans in Congress, okay, the House Reps and the Senate, in order for them to start turning stuff. But this is the thing, right? Even if Trump is impeached, even if he's found guilty and they escort him out of the White House and say, do not come back, you still have very, very strong proponents of Project 2025. They still want that to happen. They don't like that it's happening so fast and it's causing so many big waves. They wanted things to be quieter. They're not happy about the fact that 45 does things in a way that, he ends up in court over them and everything's going up to the Supreme Court. And even the Supreme Court can't save his butt. He keeps he gets just no's from everybody. But if the midterms strongly flip blue in Congress, they should be able to push that through. The question is that something that needs to be signed into law by the president? That I don't know. Let's see if we can find out. Is the SAVE Act, if if the 2026 midterm elections significantly change the power structure and make it lean more Democrat, will the SAVE Act be salvaged? Okay, yes. So maybe the difference is, I don't know, the question of overturn, not overturn, I don't know. Is E. Jean Carroll going to receive the judgment she's entitled to? So I'm assuming you're meaning the money, the payment, the restitution that she is entitled to. Is that money eventually going to flow? Yeah, looks like. Sorry. I glanced at a post that said that F-47/45 has European leaders so angry with him that they are considering releasing the info on him and Epstein, the Mueller report, and more. Will they do so? And if so, will it happen this year? Start with, will they release it? No answer, so it hasn't been determined yet. Um, yeah, I have to leave it at that because if a decision hasn't been made. Well, Abrego Garcia, and I apologize if I said that wrong, be returned from El Salvador prison alive. Yes. And it's a really strong yes. So there's some hope there. Will Pete Hegseth be removed from office because of his security breaches? Yeah. Gossip says that they're already looking for somebody. Listen, they may be able to attract somebody who has a better resume than morning show talk show host. But you're still going to be dealing with people coming in who are incredibly loyal, 45, and don't have experience, don't have the knowledge, shouldn't be there. Will RFK Jr.'s artistic registry become a reality? I have no idea what that is. So, Pendulum, is that artistic registry going to become a reality? Um, says no. Is there a heightened security risk for 45 going to the Pope's funeral? Okay, let's just pull back a bit. Is Trump actually going to go to the funeral? Says yes. And is that going to necessitate additional or heightened security? Yes. Will the Supreme Court reverse the Trump immunity ruling? Okay. Are they going to reverse it? No. Are they going to clarify what what falls under presidential actions? Yes. And will blatantly disregarding the Constitution be something that um, no president has power to do? Okay, so yes. Will U.S. go forward with Trump's wishes to invade Greenland and Canada? No. Will Kamala Harris run for governor of California? No answer. That decision has not yet been made. Will the relationship between Trump and Putin remain intact? It's a yes, but it's a small yes. Are Putin and EM manipulating Trump? Of course they are. Will Trump continue to hold power through the summer? It's a yes. Not a big one, but it's a yes. Will he continue to hold power through the rest of 2025? Okay. As of right now, it's a small no. So, probably not this summer. Got a yes. And through the rest of the year, got a no. So, whatever that ends up looking like in terms of timing, I guess that's what it looks like. Um, okay. If your dogs in your world are hearing my dog barking, sorry. Um, all right. It is Friday. It's the weekend. Make sure you take the time to do something really good for yourself and someone else. Also, I don't know if there are protests going on this weekend. I suspect there are. Those protests are ramping up. In fact, that's going to be my question. I want to know if the degree of protests and the consistency of them and the strength of them, is that ultimately going to impact decisions and behaviors of politicians, and that of all politicians? Yes, those things are having a result. So what they're saying is you're going to see Republicans start to sort of waffle a little bit, right? Some of them are going to start pulling back. Trump's popularity numbers, all of his poll numbers are horrible, horrible. Um, and as those numbers decrease, so too does the loyalty, too does the fear that they have of Trump going after them. Okay. And it's going to cause Democrats to get moving. Okay. Yes, you have the AOCs and Jasmine Crockett and the Bernie Sanders, but you need lots and lots and lots of them all saying, being out there, being really out front. They need to do more when it comes to social media. They need to be out there more, and they need to be more assertive about the things that they are saying. So what I'm getting is that the amount of support, um, okay, the amount of pushback that is being received will embolden Democrats. It will help them move forward in a stronger direction. Okay, so if you are somebody who is going to one of the protests this weekend, stay safe, be well. I'm not getting any feelings, by the way, that there's any danger around the protest. I'm not seeing, at this point, anyways, I'm not seeing any violence or any anger. The protests, as I can see them, are peaceful. They're so big, and they're happening in every single state. Okay. Thank you very much for being here. I really do appreciate the ongoing support. You guys are just amazing. Thank you. Take care and be well. See you soon. Bye-bye.